Before you hire the first agent that tells you what you want to hear, you need to hear this. Not all real estate agents operate the same way, and the wrong partner can quietly cost you tens of thousands of dollars, unnecessary stress, and months of frustration. Today, I'm breaking down 3 red flags to watch for when selecting your real estate broker, especially here in the Greater Rochester and Finger Lakes market. Hi, my name is Susan Glenz. I'm the founder and team leader of the Bespoke Homes team with Keller Williams Realty. And we are a top 1% real estate team in the Greater Rochester and Finger Lakes area of New York, committed to helping our clients sell profitably and confidently. And if you are a homeowner considering selling in the next 6 to 12 months, then you've come to the right place. So let's dive into the red flags when hiring a broker. Number 1, the buy the listing price. So this is when an agent gives you the highest price possible or simply matches the price that you told them you want. Not because the data supports it, but because they want to win the listing. And I get it. It feels good to hear the price that you want. But there are really 2 issues happening here, okay? And the first one is surface level, and it directly impacts how you go to market. This one is probably the most obvious because here's the reality in Rochester and throughout the Finger Lakes. Overpriced homes sit. They get stale, and after 1 or 2 price reductions, buyers start wondering what's wrong with that property, right? Days on market matter in our area, and once buyers see repeated price drops or an extended days on market, they assume there's an issue even when there isn't. And that perception can cost you real money and negotiation leverage. Strategic pricing isn't about ego and hearing what we want. It's about data-driven insights and facts to price the property correctly from the very beginning. But here's the deeper, quieter issue. And quite frankly, this can become the biggest problem of all. If an agent is willing to buy the listing with a price that isn't supported by the market, what that often tells you is this: they aren't skilled or confident in delivering transparent feedback that opposes what you want to hear. They fear upsetting you, and I get it. It feels great in the moment to feel in control, to hear the number that you were hoping for. But if your agent isn't able or willing to have the tough conversations from the very beginning on price, how can you feel confident that they'll have the tough conversations you need throughout the entire process? Because there will be moments that require clarity. When you get feedback from buyers, an offer response strategy, inspection and final walkthrough negotiations, appraisal challenges, navigating when a deal is falling apart, right? All of these are challenging conversations. And if they're holding back what they really think at the listing appointment, how can you be sure they're being fully honest and providing expert guidance the entire time, especially when times get tough? Now let's pivot away from real estate for a second. When I hire an attorney, now law isn't something I practice, right? So I am paying a subject matter expert to give me the real. I want them to see my blind spots, to tell me how it is, even if it's not what I initially wanted to hear. And I'm willing to pay them top dollar to do so because the value is in their guidance and perspective based on your experience. And selling a home is no different. Selling your home, which is often your largest financial asset, deserves that same level of honest, professional counsel that I would expect from my attorney. So you don't need someone to agree with you, right? You need someone who's going to protect you throughout the process. You don't need someone who hits the easy button. You need someone that's willing to have the hard conversations from day one. Red flag number 2, Zestimate-driven pricing. I love this one. So we all love data, right? And online estimates like those from Zillow are incredibly easy to access nowadays. I can go right in my computer and find my Zestimate right now. You type in your address, and within seconds, there's a number. It feels authoritative. It feels objective. It feels safe. But here's the risk. Algorithms don't understand the true condition of your home, right? The quality of the updates that you've put in throughout the years, the emotional pull that your layout may have over the neighbor's house. It doesn't take into account the hyper-local demand on your specific street. And the algorithms especially struggle in Rochester and throughout the Finger Lakes area, where we have a lot of mixed housing stock, right? Lake influence, both the Great Lakes and the Finger Lakes, lots of acreage, and then highly unique properties and neighborhoods. Let me share a brief client story with you that brings this to life. So last year, I met with homeowners in Brighton, which is a sought-after suburb of Rochester. And their estimate was $447,000 at the time we met. They told me they would have happily sold their home around $475,000 as is. Now, I could have hit the easy button, right, and brought them an offer for $475,000, but I saw potential for a lot more. I presented them a carefully crafted plan outlining a $30,000 investment to present their home to the market in its best light. This included interior and exterior painting, carpet replacement, deep cleaning, professional staging, and more. And their home sold for $658,000, you guys. That's more than $200,000 over the estimate, or the Zestimate rather. So the difference wasn't luck, it was strategy. Had they priced based solely on this estimate, they would have left a massive amount of equity potential on the table. And so Zestimates are one data point. They are not a pricing strategy. Let me say that again. Zestimates are one data point. They are not a pricing strategy. If you want to hear exactly how that specific client's story unfolded and how we protected that seller from making a very costly $200,000 mistake, go watch our video, The Hidden Danger of Your Zestimate. It could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, let's wrap up red flag number 2 with one final very important thought and question. When you're selling one of your largest financial assets, you deserve more than an algorithm, okay? You deserve hyper-local expert interpretation of the data, not blind reliance on it. And so here's the bigger question I really want you to think about. If your agent is defaulting to a Zestimate to determine your pricing strategy without challenging it, validating it, or interpreting it through real-time local data, what else are they defaulting on? Are they digging into buyer behavior to predict when a deal might go south? Are they analyzing showing activity trends to future pace a price improvement and get ahead of it? Are they blindly relying on what the buyer agent or buyer's loan officer tells them without digging deeper? How are their critical thinking skills, right? Are they able to troubleshoot complex problems that inevitably will come your way during a transaction? Are they able to anticipate what might go wrong based on patterns that are showing up time and time again? Are they studying absorption rates and micro neighborhood shifts? Or are they just accepting surface level data at face value? Because surface level strategy provides surface level results. And when it comes to protecting your equity, you need depth. You need nuance. You need someone who understands how Rochester and the Finger Lakes actually move, not just what an algorithm spits out. All right, let's move into red flag number 3. And this one might surprise you at first. So red flag number 3 is the discount agent trap. Now, before I dive into commission, I will start by reinforcing that broker compensation is not set by law or local board. It is fully negotiable, and each individual broker determines their own compensation structure that they will accept, okay? And we all know a discount brand when we see one. When they lead with cheap or are very quick to reduce their compensation to appease you, it should give you pause. It may feel like a win in the moment, but it really should give you pause, right? Now, I understand that on the surface, right, low commission sounds attractive. It can feel like you're gaining something. And yet, what you should really be asking yourself is this: what are you losing out on? What's missing? Because in the absence of true value, the only thing to compete on is price. So what's missing? Do they provide staging guidance? Do they offer professional photography and videography? Do they provide strategic marketing? Because reduced marketing and limited exposure often leads to lower offers and weaker terms. If you look around your home right now, there are probably many items or services that you pay a premium for. A couple examples that I know I have is commercial-free shows on Amazon Prime. I have an upgraded version of Alexa, right? I have an iPhone versus a basic cell phone. And I love my heated seats in my car in New York winters, just to name a few. So, which means if you're anything like me, you aren't opposed to paying top dollar if the value in return is meaningful to you. And here's the ground truth that discerning homeowners like you understand. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done and your home has closed, your net proceeds matter more than the broker compensation amount paid. In other words, saving 1% but selling for 5% less is not a win. It's the result of paying for cheap services. And if we dig deeper, here's the most important question to reflect on when an agent, or any service provider for that matter, discounts their services. What is the true cost of working with this person? If they were so quick to discount their fee, how quickly will they discount your sale price when negotiating with a professional buyer representative? Will they leave money on the table during negotiations? In our Rochester and Finger Lakes market right now, it is highly competitive, so we see a lot of escalation clauses. Escalation clauses can be tricky to navigate, and you would not believe the amount of times I have seen listing agents miscalculate the true value of an escalation clause, and as a result, they leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table for their seller. Now, in that case, we represent the buyer, right? And when we receive proof of the competing offer and realize that our offer was actually worth $550,000, but the listing agent countered us at $510,000 because of the way they interpreted the escalation clause, right? Of course, we don't say anything because we represent the buyer in that scenario, but those poor sellers were none the wiser. Another question, will your agent miss an opportunity to improve your terms? That could be moving your closing date up or negotiating free post-possession to reduce your carrying costs, right? It could mean getting the buyer to accept a survey with an affidavit of no change to save you anywhere from $500 to $5,000 on a new land survey. It could be something as simple as negotiating the buyer to allow you to leave personal property behind, thereby saving you not only moving expenses, but also time and stress. So, here's one final thought. When interviewing real estate brokers to represent you for the sale of one of your largest financial assets, if there is a glaring red flag, there's usually a deeper underlying issue with hidden costs to be aware of. Choosing a real estate broker isn't about finding someone who agrees with you or someone who offers you surface level guidance. And for the most discerning homeowners like you, it's not about finding someone who will do it for less. It's about finding someone who will tell you the truth, back it with data, and build a strategy designed to protect your equity and your bottom line. The right partner doesn't just list your home, they position it. And they position you for success that far exceeds their fee. Because the best agents are not a cost, they are an investment. If you're ready to start your home selling journey and you're seeking expert guidance from someone who is willing to have the tough conversations to create clarity and empower you to move forward, click the link below to connect with my team and get started today. And if you're a discerning homeowner in the Rochester and Finger Lakes area and you found this content valuable, hit the like button, and you can also subscribe for more content just like this. Feel free to comment below and share with us any topics and questions that you want us to answer in the future. Thanks so much. See you next time.